Hey, welcome back to another Mind the Mic podcast. I'm your host Shubs, here with a legend of Redfern, former bank robber, now just a coach of every coach. He'll just coach you in every way, mindset and all the rest. If you ain't doing the job, he'll tell you how to do it. Let's go. Shout out to my bro Jeffrey Morgan, cuzzy. What's good, my brother?
Mate, good to be on, and I'm looking forward to this chat. And sometimes the old school chats are the best way to get, those lessons that become blessings, brother, in people's lives. And as you said, it can help anyone from any form of life, whether you're going down the path I once was, whether you're in the corporate world doing big things, in the business world. We're going to have a big chat, and we're going to be open, honest, authentic about it, and let it rip, my brother. And I look forward to this, man.
Yeah, nah, appreciate you, brother. So, just for anybody that doesn't know you, and can you fill them in a little bit, give them a little few tidbits on the Jeffrey Morgan, the journey, and where you come from, all that.
12 years of age on the streets of Sydney, homeless as a young kid. Parents were in a dysfunctional relationship, so I ran away from home because dad was physically abusive for a long period of time. Didn't feel safe there, hit the streets of Sydney, started to gather a network of friends out on the streets. Got into graffiti. I don't really talk to that too much,
Oh
but
yeah,
got
graffiti,
right into that side of things, yeah, bombing
street.
and all of the above around graffiti. And became very well known for that side of things for a period of time. Got
What was
into
your
crime,
graffiti name, brother? What was your tagging name or whatever? What was your
Koste,
griff?
so Koste, and PIC, Partners in Crime. So I went
Oh
down
yeah.
that little pathway, and I look back on it now, it was a validation. I wanted to be validated. Parents didn't do it for me. Now I've got a crew around me that will validate me. And now I had a tag where everyone validated me. And the more I did it, the more I was, felt cared for, valued, or whatever it may be. And well,
Mm,
yeah, you can imagine I just went all out and I went all in. And the same thing, you had that same attitude throughout life. I realized the more you put in, the more you get out. And then went down a path of smaller crimes, searching. We started searching, distracting shopkeepers, going out the back of the shop, taking money, and then obviously leaving without anybody even being known. Travelled to Australia doing that as a young kid at 12 years of age. I was first arrested 3 hours out of Sydney for that. And it was, in my head, I was in this mode of just survival all day, every day. And anything that could help me have a bed, food, shelter over my head. No one else was doing it for me, so I went down that path myself. And long story short, leads to stealing cars. We get into these ram raid phase, stolen Porsches, that sort of thing, late at night, 3
mm.
a.m. Very regular, on the news, in the papers on a regular basis. Same thing, validation again. The more articles you gave us as a crew, especially in Redfern, the more we ran the ball up as a crew, and especially as a community, it just we thrived on everybody obviously making money and then being able to
Yeah.
survive ourselves.
So
That led
Redfern, brother. Redfern. Just sorry, brother.
mm,
Redfern.
yeah,
What was it like growing up in Redfern? Because like I've heard the stories. Like for people that don't know what Redfern is, that may listen to this, from wherever in the
yeah,
world, or what was
man.
Redfern
Like
like?
it's very hard to explain in this day and age. If you go down there now, you wouldn't even recognise it. It's more beautiful than this house. It's like gentrified to the max. People
Yeah.
walking down there, the whole lot. Yeah, there's no way you could walk there. People wouldn't get taxed. You get in a taxi from the city, Redfern, please get out. They'd literally tell you to jump out. A lot of racism back then around Aboriginal people. People, if you spoke that you were from Redfern, they're like, "Oh, you're from there, are you?" And they had
Stigma.
that sort of same stigma attached to it. Was a badge of honour to go to jail. Our MIN number, which is your jail number, was more important than your tax file number. And we had no fear. My brothers were there. My community was there. So you can imagine, and I've sort of told you, starting to spiral into more serious crimes, which leads to and I'm looking around Redfern, all these people, they're going through that same little journey I'm going through there, elevating their crimes as they go through that. And they're trying to make more and more money, become more and more violent. Violence was the first response down there. A lot of serious assaults at the top of Redfern. So people thought they could walk past, people would tell them and remind them why it wasn't cool to walk in or close to the street. And syringes everywhere down there. Everyone was on drugs. Heroin was huge at that point in time.
Yeah.
As a kid,
What
12,
decade
13,
is this,
14.
brother? When's this? Like 80s, 70s? What's this? What's this? 80s?
I'd say it would have been, when I look at it, so it would have been, from 12 onwards. So I was 70, so 80s into the 90s, and just a huge period, that 20-year period where it was just relentless. And you can imagine young kids playing around syringes, broken beer bottles, everyone getting drunk. So it was a normal, music playing loud as anything, young kids in the house wanting to go to school the next day, including myself. And you're in a house. Yeah, imagine on a foam mattress, 13 of us trying to share as much of the space on that foam, one single bed foam mattress, cockroaches, rats crawling around, windows broken, graffiti in the house, outside the house. The house was dirty.
13. What do you mean 13, brother? Is that in your family?
13 kids, yeah, man. 13 kids around. And when I say that, that's who was there on a regular basis. So I'm talking, imagine those that came up, and no doubt you got big family yourself, and you got people that come down from the country and they jump in and you squash in, and mate, you'd sleep on the couch, side of the couch, squashing together. And it was just that way of craziness was just, throwing bricks at police cars at 12 years of age, running riots with police, they're trying to grab you, pull you out, everyone's trying to assault them and keep you in. And it was just an insane space to grow up in that became a normal way of life to us. And what we saw, we just became that byproduct of the environment. I'm not saying it's right, so anybody out there that watches it, but understand that context of where we came from and where we are today. And biggest lesson out of that, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I finished with a professional sporting club today, up here in Townsville. And for me, it shows you like the insanity of that area was just, to try and describe it's nearly unimaginable, but you can type in Everly Street, look for the houses with all the graffiti across them and how people were. People drinking, on drugs every single day, crime. It was just, it was insane.
Without it though, you won't be here. You wouldn't be giving these,
Absolutely.
today, and that. So it's your journey, brother.
What you go through, you grow through, and what that means is sometimes we think it's happening to us, but it's actually happening for us. So back then, I would have said, if you said what's good about this, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Have a look around. There's nothing good about this. But sometimes when we're in that moment, even for those in a relationship breakup, you're like, oh, the world sucks. I can't believe they left me. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. Whatever it is that you're thinking, the same thing. But when you come out of it, and now you've got red flags on bad people, maybe you respect yourself more now. You've put some boundaries up. So if we can change the perception of what's happening in a moment and saying, oh, I'm a victim and why me and all of the above, to what's actually happening here? How can I grow from it? What did I learn from it? And you'll step out the other side of beast. And that's what we, a lot of us out the other side a lot stronger and a lot more resilient. And you've got to imagine going through all that. And someone says, oh, that's hard about a particular situation. That's easy. Like, go down there and do what we did to grow, to get to here and still be alive. And that's before I even hit the jail yard, the jail yards, and I've been there on the back end of obviously the other stuff that went on just growing up in the community. So car chases were normal. Like, it was people. And when I say running riots with police, I'm literally talking about throwing bricks at police officers, punching on, all in brawls. And at that time, you got to imagine if a police officer, which you'd understand, at that point in time was so fearful, and it happened many a times where guns were pulled out, and we were lucky as a community that we didn't have someone shot and killed down there during that period of time. And during that riot,
that's good, brother, that you didn't, like, considering.
Yeah, and it was we've had obviously the running riots because of one incident where the police actually hit a bike. And that kid was my cousin. And
what was his name?
TJ Hickey, big love to my family and his mother Gail. And that set off another running riot. And that same thing, I think at that point in time, the police had a realisation: we can either keep running battles with Redfern, or we can start to actually try and make something of it. And they had that realisation, and the community leaders had that. Do we want to live under that much stress? No. Do we want to get pulled over and bashed every day? No. So, and that was just a normal way. That before I got out of Redfern, once you walked out of Redfern, then you had to worry about the police bashing you at that point in time. And rightfully so, not rightfully so, but like we're from Brixton, of course they want to give us an uppercut. So
Yeah.
it was just one of those, and people couldn't even contemplate. Think about your 12-year-old kid, your nephew, your niece, whatever it is, and think to yourself, them throwing bricks at police cars as normal behaviour, stealing Porsches, snatching money off bank counters by 14 years of age. It's just insanity. So to take that and go out into the world and say, I'm going to mess shit up, man. I'm going to fuck shit up. And you know what you think is hard, fuck, that is easy for me. Like, and that's what, a lot of the times take your past and make that your future, because you've got lessons of blessings, resilience, strength, accountability, discipline, whatever it is, take them
Would you
and
say
mold
there
them.
again, brother? Can you just repeat that again? Sorry, my brother. What was that tidbit you just gave us there?
Take those lessons and make them blessings, and think about what was the lesson you got out of perseverance, commitment, whatever it may be for yourself. And people, as I said, we'll look at it and go, oh, I was traumatized by it. So trauma is attached to what? Emotion makes you feel the emotions. If you were cheated on in the past, a bad feeling, right? Rather than saying that, say I actually learned to set some boundaries, which means I respect myself. Now I'm tapping into self-love, and now I'm a beast to this thing we call fucking life. And once you do that, now we're having a fucking real conversation, and we're taking strength from something that actually was supposed to fuck us up. And most people will do that in a different way. They go, nah, fuck. Oh, to me, fuck, it was traumatizing. Oh, I'm going to cry for the rest of my life. And that's not the best of your life, brother. So flip that mentality,
Yeah.
create a better reality on that bitch, and step out into the world and crush life, bro.
Yeah, either make you or break you, eh? There you go, brother. So,
Yeah, you get to choose either, right?
yeah,
Yin or yang.
that's it.
I would
It's your
say
choice
choose your
at the
yin
end of
and
the day.
yang. Good, bad,
Yeah.
constructive, destructive, happy, sad. And if
And
I say to you, my brother, what do you choose? We're all going to choose the good side, right? But when things happen to us, we choose the bad side because that we perceive it as something bad for us. Well, if there's a lesson that becomes a blessing, we flip that, and that's where the magic happens.
yeah, and I think what you're saying there, just me personally, I didn't obviously grow up in Redfern, but I grew up with a lot of the stuff you talk about back home, and even like molested and all that kind of stuff. But all that kind of stuff like happens to a lot of our family. But like I chose eventually, as a kid, I thought, fuck, am I things like, am I gay because that happened to me and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I decided like, bruh, like it's gone now. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, is it fucked? Yes. But at the end of the day, I can't change the fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I can take
hundreds.
the lessons out of it and try and, when I have children, make sure that I set a better standard for them than what we had, so that doesn't happen to them and shit like that. So yeah, like you said, brother,
That,
taking the lessons and flipping them into
even in
blessings. I love that.
even in those abuse situations, my brother, it's happened and we can't change it. And I'm not saying that it was right, but what I
Nah,
am
hell no.
saying is, could you pass that? You just said that. Could you pass it on to your kids so they're not in the same position in the future? Hundreds. Can you then become an advocate in that space, maybe around where other men or women or whatever it may be don't go down the same path? And there's so many blessings that become lessons out of that, where kids are protected down the space because of what others had gone through. And as I said, we could flip that trauma and really turn it into a strength and allow others to move forward. And if that's your kids, my brother, then it's a fucking great thing where they don't
Yeah,
have to go down that path and they're
yeah.
protected from the information, knowledge shared from not only you, but other people that have been through that space. Fucking share that shit to the world as much as
Yeah.
we can.
100%, brother, and that's what I think about it, because people be like, "Oh, like, are you sure? Like, that's fucked." Like, I don't even share for no sympathy. Like, literally, don't.
Yep.
Like, I just share it because, bro, I'm past sympathy. Because it's like, it is what it is. I share it because, like, the shit should be talked about, because the more that we don't talk about it, the more it gets swept under the rug, and then the more
Yeah.
the more people end up knocking themselves off or whatever. Like you said, they don't learn to flip it
100%.
into a blessing. So yeah, nah, good on you,
And,
brother. I love
and,
that shit.
and And I love that you share that, brother. The vulnerability is a strength. Not many men will do that. They go, oh, I'm embarrassed by it. But if being embarrassed and not saying anything, not then passing it on to your kids, to be able to look for the red flags, make sure you're in this space, have these conversations. If you need me in this space, have that conversation. That needs someone to take that and create a strength out of it. In fact, you've done that. Big ups to you, bro, because a lot of people will be prisoners of their own mindset for the rest of their life. They'll sit there with it, they'll resonate on it, it'll chew them up, eat them up, spit them out to life, and they're dead at 25, buried at 75. And, mate, for you to be able to do that, my brother, big ups to you. And, you know, I could ask you, how did it make you feel? It's Y and Z. And I know you're going to go down the path of, fuck it, I didn't want that. I didn't feel that. I don't even want to talk about it. But in general, if I asked you what were the lessons that became blessings out of it, you could start to say, here's what I got out of it in that strength. And even if you could, you know, what is one thing that you got out of it, brother, that could help your family?
The biggest thing for me is just literally that, brother. Literally thinking like when someone does that, right? Even though it doesn't excuse the behavior, it's usually a taught behavior or a learned behavior from someone else. Like it usually happens to them, whatever. So like it's breaking the cycle initially. Just like let's snap that cycle from ever happening again. One, like make sure it doesn't happen to my children, but also it's made me aware, like, because I don't mind a drink. I don't drink as much as I used to now that I have kids in there. But you know, but when I'm in those settings, I've always been like wary, like if there's children around to just watch, like if I'm in a setting where there's a lot of drinking and there's kids around, just to watch where they all, like, make sure they're all good. You know what I mean? Because like I've been that kid. You know, my brother was that kid, and we talk about it now. So that's sort of our thing, is like just making sure that people are all good, and obviously it starts with our own children. You know, we make sure that they're all good as well. So that's me.
Huge.
That's the biggest thing for me, brother. Just making sure it doesn't happen again to somebody around me anyway, if we can.
How many potentials, but having that, you know, and they know what's happening. People know. When I wanted to commit crimes back in the day, bank robberies, I was onto who was watching me, what I needed to do to be, you know, hide myself or be merge into the background as such. And no doubt, people that do this sort of stuff, you hear it all the time, how they groom them and so forth, even more so as family. So for you to be able to
100.
watch the family and go, is everyone here, all these kids here, is who's walking some kid into the house? That's because I wouldn't, you know, I might sit there and just go, oh, you know, Joe Bloggs is going with little Mary and going playing cars or something, or dolls. No problems. But someone else might see that and say, hey, wait a second, I'm going to walk in that house, I'm going to check what's happening here, and all of a sudden find that that kid's not in any of the rooms other than one that's locked. Well, now we've got a bit of a problem. And as I said, you know, as much as we don't promote it, we've got to be real about it too. And people like yourself, my brother, big ups, man, for coming out and being strong around it. And just as a brother to brother, I'm always here, mate. I'd rather get your phone call 3 a.m. You got my number. And anybody that watches this, I'd rather get your call 3 a.m. in the morning, whether I know you or not, rather than hear that you're not here any longer. So don't be afraid to reach out if it's been a part of your journey. Have that conversation. We're not here to judge you, and I know Shabs be the same, man. And we'll definitely bring you to strength.
On that point too, you know, a lot of people would say that too, like, and because I've been someone that's held space for a lot of people in different you know, avenues of my journey, brother. Like, you know, just sit there, listen, and that. But when, like, I hear that, you know, you hear it from people. You know, if you ever want to call me, you know, you can. But there's always a lot of people that say it, but they just say it just to say it. When you say it, brother, I actually believe it, brother, and that's true. You know, you can just, you know, I actually believe it, like real talk. So you know,
if anybody's upstairs. And she sat through many calls 3 a.m. No, not sat through, heard me answer many of those calls. And she's never, I'll give a big shout out to her too. She's supported me the whole way.
Tell us about her, brother, like whatever you can and want to share. Tell us about the rock.
That's a story in itself. Meeting her, you know, sometimes we just meet people in that, let's say it was a traumatic situation, and they're pretty attracted to how they look, and then you step into that world, but then you find out they're built wrong, right? And all of a sudden you got yourself a bit of a scenario because you've been bonded by attraction, but the rest of it was terrible shit, whatever you want to call it. And now you got a problem trying to get out. For me, I was very lucky. I was very intentional, and what I teach to people, I had taught to myself, I'm not going to get into another relationship. I got burned 3 times in a row by 3 girls who cheated on me. And I started to wonder, you know, even as a man, you're like, what is it? What's going on? Am I good enough?
Especially
maybe it's something up in the bedroom. So, you know, you think about things like that. anyway, I became very intentional about that, and I worked on that stuff too. I was like, well, what is it? Is it me? Is there a common denominator around these guys? What am I doing to be in this space? And looking back on some of those things, I was doing the wrong thing at that time. My brother cheating on my partner, and maybe they felt and said, stuff this bloke anyway. But in the end,
Yeah.
it's not a good way to behave. But I started to recognize it, rebuilt myself, said, when I find someone, here's how I'm going to be and act. And I end up meeting in my head, this person's not my person, this person's. And I was saying that to myself. And I meet the current partner 4 years now, and she turns to me one day and she says, "You're my person." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, man. That's what I'm looking for." Because I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't need anybody else. I don't want anybody else. I wanted to build a stronger version of me, and that meant that I had to pull my head in as well. Those texts,
Yep.
turning the phone over, putting the phone in the pocket, all that bullshit behavior. You think it's good, but it just causes you stress, man. And yeah, anyone wants stress in your life? My name's Jeff Morgan, the Tinga. You'd be like, "Fuck, see you later, leg it, brother." But for me to meet her and be telling her that's your person, she sat through so many of those calls. And she's never once said, "Boo, you can't give your number out." And she's actually says, every time I say it anywhere, she doesn't, she never ever once pulls me out, losing a brother and sister to suicide. And, maybe it's your family, my brother, maybe it's somebody else's family.
That's a big
I know
thing
the
too, brother.
pain. When we lose somebody to any cancers, anything, we're all sitting there
Yeah.
crying, wishing that person was back. So a 3 a.m. 1 hour call, if you're really serious and you want to put your number out there, my number's up on my first post in Instagram on a post about men's suicide. It's up at, I think it's 4 million views, something like that. And my number sits pinned to the top of that post. So anyone can check that out to see if I'm
Yep.
bullshitting. And if you call that, and obviously you really genuinely need help, please don't call just for the sake of it. I'll answer that and I'll sit with you, but I'll give you one solution and I suggest you take that and start practicing it. You might not get it right the first time. It might take you 100 times to get it right. As long as you're moving forward and trying, I'll keep in contact with you. If you want to contact me, not try at all, then I'll cut the ties with yourself, because in the end, it's about how and when I say that, I put in enough effort to help you be guided as quickly as we possibly can towards your perception correction, so that you're starting to see things that happen for you, not to you, as we spoke about before. And off we go, my brother. And 3 a.m. I put it out, and I keep putting it out there. Ring anytime. If you're going through anything.
Legend,
It might be your family that rings me, my brother, and to me, that might keep your kids, your partner, your brother, or someone of that nature within your family on this planet. That's priceless. I wish I wish my brother and sister had that person at that point in time that they felt that they could reach out to. And I think if the world could all do that, it would be a better space around that conversation.
Well, it's like Pac said, "Hey, I might not change the world, but I may spark the brain or the mind of the person that changes the world." So who knows, brother? It might not be you that changes, but you might sow enough seeds to help, be that change, my brother. So that's beautiful, man.
And
Keep
how
doing
much is
that,
that worth? How much is that worth then?
everything. Hey, priceless, cuz.
So a 3 a.m. call for 1 hour, it's priceless. And that's why, it's a no-brainer. And we said, a lot of people, as you said, "Oh, yeah, bro, call me, shoot me a number," and they'll be like,
Yeah.
blank, full silence and ghosting. And
Yeah.
that's where we, as a world, disconnect. We have so much potential to connect. We just disconnect from each other more and more. And judgment, I only said that to look good in a space or whatever it is. Just don't put
Yeah.
yourself out there. If you're not in that space and you're not willing to do that, the best thing to do is be authentic and say, "I'm not willing to do that. I'm going to put my time into me and my family," and that's cool too. Just don't throw it
Yeah,
out
that's
there for the
okay.
sake of throwing it out there.
Yeah, you're right, brother. And there's nothing, like Jeffrey said. He's not telling you what you have to. You don't have to be like him and take those calls in the morning, but just be authentic and just say, if you don't want to do it, then
Absolutely.
say it. Yeah, and even when you talked about your ex partners and what had happened to you, that's again touching on what you said, brother. The looking at your past and then turning it and flipping it into blessings, brother. That's again with the how did I affect that relationship? Why is it not working for me? That's a good one. For myself, I can look back in different things, just friendships. They were like, how did I make that deteriorate? You know what I mean? Or what role did I play? Even anybody out there, not just from Redfern or anywhere, but even people just in life and relationship. I think there's a good gems you got there, cuzzy. Straight up.
You look at them, and I look at, it's easy to look at the actions of my ex-partners and say, oh, they all cheated on me, they're all pieces or whatever in your head. But I then turn to myself and think, what was I actually doing? And I was treating them well, other than I was still having people in the background, and energy comes off in its own form. And, if you're trying to hide something, you've been deceptive, you can show up, but your energy to that person might make them feel unsettled. So if I stand behind you, brother, in the line, and I get too close to yourself, you're like, bro, what are you doing? And that energy maybe went out to them. And I started to think about it and think, maybe it was how I condone. Look, I'm not condoning their behavior either. But in the end, I was like, what could I do to be better in that situation? So my partners actually want to be in that space. And then I said,
brother.
yeah, why don't I, I was like, why don't I pull my head in around that toxic behavior I'm doing for myself in the relationship? And as much as I think I'm winning, I'm actually losing, because when I look in that mirror tomorrow morning, I just, the authentic version of myself, that 3 a.m. phone call version I spoke about before, it wasn't there in aspects of my life, in the relationships. And it damaged me, it damaged my kids, it damaged my whole pathway. And then to fix it, guess what I do? I go and find another girl and another girl and another girl. At the detriment of what? My time towards the life I wanted, the business I was supposed to be doing, my partner and the relationships, the respect I'm meant to have in it, all of those things. And for me, it was just no brainer, brother. Get out of that. And I've been in this relationship 4 years, and it's been a peaceful one. I can lay my head on the pillow at night. My partner can grab the phone and say, I'm just going to grab those photos from today. And I'm like, oh shit, I hope, so-and-so doesn't text me. Just a better journey, my brother, less stress. And directions of intentions around my business are going like this. My business has gone like this, brother.
How did you have the like all the self-reflection and all of that? How did you obviously didn't have that mindset to begin with? So how did you develop it?
Yeah, sorry, I missed the start of that.
Like, so you obviously didn't have the self-reflection and all that. You didn't have that mindset to begin with, right? How did you develop that? Because where did that all come from?
Yeah, I think it was the 20 years of jail. By the end of it, and going back to that story, snatching money off counters led to bank robberies, and I ended up serving 20 years total in general. And I think those 20 years, there's a lot of self-reflecting. When the door shuts at night, brother, you can be the biggest, toughest mother that is on this planet in that setting and in the jail. I'll go to the end and I'll fuck anybody up and let's do it. But you're going to do the same thing, and so is the next bloke. And as much as we have that ego, I suppose, and we've got to put on that front when we're in there, the reality, when that door shut at night and a tear rolled down my eye, thinking about my 2 kids that were out there without their father, and as you spoke about, brother, not maybe be in that position where someone wanted to do something to my daughter in a family setting, and then I have to sit and live with that, brother. And I still don't know from my kids if that happened, because maybe they don't talk about it, right? And next thing, something happens to my kids. So I was having these reflections. I was like, what would you do? What would you do? And I can blame that person, but I can also blame myself. Not blame, look at myself and say, could you have been better? Could you have been a better father? And if so, how so? And then I started to roll into everything else. Be staunch, be loyal. I was like, fucking be staunch, be loyal to this world. Fuck that. Be staunch and loyal to the kids that you brought into this world, and be staunch and loyal to the life that you truly want. You like being locked up, Jeff? And I started to really reflect on myself. I journal every single day. I'd ask myself these questions, and I literally like, what's the meaning of life to yourself? And I'd sit there and go, what is it, man? What do you like? What do you want to get out? Why are you doing this? Is it the money? Is it the life? Is it the girls? Is it the experiences? Can you replicate that? Yes, you can. Where could you find that? And that's all we started to do. I started to really break that down, and that became the roadmap to the life I wanted. And that inner inner standing, I call it the inner standing or an understanding of yourself became just priceless, brother. Like, absolutely priceless in the journey towards who I am today. And I can't tell people, sit with yourself sometimes, turn your phone on airplane mode, find a space, might be at top of the mountain, might be down by a tree, might be down by the ocean, might be in your family home, wherever it is for yourself, and really reflect on how you're conducting yourself. Are you screaming at your kids, your partner, you in your workplace? Are you stressed? Yeah, even then you say, "Oh, I've had a shit day." Well, how can you regulate your emotions? Does that serve your kids? Does it make your kids feel happy, or is it scaring your kids? If scaring your kids, how can you get across the same message, but in a way where you don't have them, to never ever, oh, I've got some goals, dreams, aspirations, dad, and look at you like they're about to get hit,
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
what we've
That's a
instilled
big
in them.
one. That's a big one, Jeff. Like for me, myself, like
It's
a lot
huge,
of
right?
time, yeah, like a lot of the yelling, especially like don't get me wrong, like the violence, but the yelling is like all like it's all we knew, the violence and the yelling and all of that stuff. Like you think that's like I was in a way as a child, and I've talked to my baby mama about this. Like I thought like if she wasn't jealous, she didn't love me. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit I used to think like because that's all I seen, bro. My grandmother was so jealous of my grandfather, like and so on and so forth, brother. Like I just seen it all the time. I was just like I thought that was love, brother. And then you talk about the
Crazy.
yelling and shit like that, and then like getting to a point where you got your children and then being like, bro, I don't want them to feel like I used to feel like. Fuck, and I'm like I'm gonna get a hiding all the time, or like you're scared to ask a question or anything like that. Um, I go back to this thing that Des Bryant says in a guy that I had on the podcast, Kieran Holland, used to play for the Bulldogs. He brought it up and we shared it on the podcast. It's Des Bryant, the wide receiver from NFL wide receiver, and he talks about this quote that he reads out every day, and he reads it to himself, and it's like, don't. He talks about setting the standard for your children. Like, don't yell at your kids before they go to bed, hoping for them to have a good sleep. Don't yell at the kids before they go to school, hoping for them to have a good day. You set the tone for your children. You're their inner voice. Don't be their inner critic. And I thought that was so powerful because for me, brother, all the hidings, all the whatevers, none of that amounted to the you're useless, you're fucking shit, you're this and that. That shit reigned in my brain all my life. I used it as fuel to be like, fuck you, I'll show you. You know what I mean? I'll show
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But not a lot of
I
people
love
have
that.
that mentality, cuz. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people have that mentality. A lot of people go into their shower and think they are useless. And don't get me wrong, like times I have been useless, but you know what I mean? That's probably just feeling sorry for myself and just living in it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think
I
that's
think
powerful.
just
Cause
on that really quickly, a whole
yeah,
bunch of
go
stuff.
ahead,
I think
go ahead, brother.
you hit a threshold, my brother, and I was like you. I was told certain things or pushed into certain positions, and I think you hit this threshold, and you're like, at some point, I wanted to fight my dad. I think it was,
Yeah,
I'd come back in. I ran away. I got locked up a few times. Went back in the house. Dad was being sort of the same thing, and I was still 14. I'd been on the street, so I was a bit more like. And I was like, I'm not scared of you. Let's go. And
yeah,
when you get to that threshold, why do you have to be at 14 years of age wanting to fight your father? And I look at Once Were Warriors, and the fact that that was something that, and I know talking to a lot of the Islander brothers, um, they went through the same journey, and it knocks the journey of strength for you. So I'm going to be this to, I don't know if I can do this. No, don't worry about it, bro. I'll just do this. And they sort of settle for it. And most people, and a lot of people have been through this, we settle for average. This will do. I've got the roof over my head. And I'm not saying that
yeah,
that's not a bad life. We should be grateful and blessed by what we got in any way, shape. You got a roof over your head. There's people that don't. You got eyes to see. There's people that don't. All that conversation, right? And people talk about being grateful and blessed. Man, if I got nothing, but I've got a roof over my head, some food in the fridge, and a nice warm bed, then I'm blessed at that level. If I get this watch or this shirt, even better.
yeah.
And then things roll
Or
off from
even
that,
just to have a
even better.
fridge, yeah. Just to have a fucking fridge is flash, you know what I mean?
100%, mate.
Yeah,
It's funny you
yeah.
say that because same thing. There was times where we wouldn't even have a fridge. Our fridge would
Yeah.
break, and they couldn't
Right.
afford a new fridge. The car would get a flat tire. Listen to this. This is how we grew up, and no doubt you would have the same. They
Or
get a flat
the
tire
oven
in
to
the
heat your
car.
house up. use the oven to heat the house up because there's no fucking heater.
100%. 1,000,000%. And you'd sleep as close to the oven as you possibly could.
Yeah.
Man, and the
Dangerous.
worst thing was, though, the cockroaches love the heat as well.
Oh,
So
they
they'd
did,
rock
bro.
around there as well. But those things, think about this, and this is for people that watch this that haven't been through this. And you get an understanding of how, some areas grow up. We get a flat tire and they give the whole car up because they couldn't fix the tire. The tire was $100. And you might go, $100, that's nothing. For us, we just didn't have the money. So they go, oh, that car's dead. We'll try and get another car. And literally, because by the time you got, to a point where you could fix it, might be weeks and weeks later. Why not just get a whole new car? And that's a sign that we should get the new car and we dump a car. People just don't dump cars who are living normal lives because they get a flat tire. They just go and fix it. We didn't have that luxury as kids. We didn't have the luxury of a fridge sometimes that would break down and you'd have to go next door because you'd have nothing in the house. And when I say nothing, Friday afternoon, Dad would get paid. I'll never forget, and I'd go to that fridge and I'd say, is there any food? And they'd say, there's no effing food, and they'd all be drunk. There's beer bottles everywhere, cases of beer. And if
money,
you're
but heaps of
lucky,
money for puss.
and if you're lucky, they had chips or something, or peanuts or soda. And even then, if you look, what are you looking at, boy? And I was like, oh no, don't worry about it. If you were lucky, you had a good uncle that you could sort of work a little bit, and he'd say, you want some chips? Yeah. And you'd sit there. All right, that's enough. And
I remember one time, brother. I remember one time, the fucking one of the aunties and uncles I stayed with, bro. They had like it was like stale ass bread, cause mold all on it, and they had like salt and pepper and water, brother. That was like our soup. Like, what the?
Wow.
Like, I mean, look back now, like, it's like you sit here and can get whatever the fuck you want to eat. You know what I mean? I was like fucking grateful, Grateful.
And that's a strength, right? Because now what people say, oh, I don't have much. I'm abundant. And all right, this house is beautiful, right? But at the same time, if I went out and just went in a tent, I'm still abundant. I'm alive. I can hear, I can see, I can feel, I can experience. I'm with my family maybe or friends or whoever it is in a culture camp, whatever it is, man, I'm abundant and I'm blessed because I know there's some kid somewhere wishing that they had food in the fridge just like I did. And no doubt not going through what you did, my brother. And big shout out to everyone going through that. Take those lessons, turn them into blessings, bring them into strength, just as we did. And I promise you, man, you'll roll out to every day, and people go, "Oh, that's hard." I don't know how to do that though. It's hard, and I'm like, "Well, fuck, I know how hard it is as well." But guess what? It's fucking worth every bit of effort you're gonna put in, because you can either work hard for somebody else's dreams, or you can work hard for your own. You got a choice, and this is what for me. Being able to do all of this stuff is on the back end of the passion that I got towards the life that I've had. And that means mental health, well-being, leadership, high-performance habits. If I didn't fix all that, or not fix, if I didn't teach myself all of that and then surround myself with people who added that value and knowledge to myself, there's no way I'd be living this life that everyone gets to see. And we've all got something in us. Something that's magical. You were talking about TikTok before and get to number one and things of that nature. You can do anything if you push yourself hard enough. If you want it bad enough, there's a mad video out there. How bad do you want it? When I first came home, 2010, I've been home 14 years now. I watched that video every single morning for a year. And there was one message in amongst it. You can watch it for yourself. It's on YouTube. How bad do you want it? There's part 2 now. I just went back to show the crew that I'm, obviously the online program I've got, and I realized there was part 2, and I just watched that the other day. But I went back to watching part 1 again for a couple of weeks. Who's
the speaker in there?
It was, I believe, I think it's E.T. Eric Thomas.
Oh, Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher.
And then
he's got some good stuff here.
I don't know who does it, to be honest with you, though, but I believe it is. And he's this young man that goes down to the beach, and he ends up getting him to wear a suit, takes him out into the water, and he wants to learn how, I want to be as successful as you. Meet me down the beach tomorrow morning. They go out into the water. He starts drowning. He's punching, kicking, scratching, doing everything he possibly can. On his last breath, he brings him up and he says, when you want something as bad as you want to breathe within life, you'll always find a way, was the sort of message. And when you don't, you'll always find that excuse. And to me, I rolled that every single day. I was a PT. I came home and I committed to that journey, and I went down PT and nutritionist. Until 2016, when my brother committed suicide, and then I moved into the mental health and wellbeing space. But I still kept the strength of the PT and nutrition in my programs. But go and watch that video and literally sit there and think, am I really showing up to life like someone's trying to stop me breathing? And am I fighting for what I truly want, my goals, my dreams, my aspirations, so I don't go to the graveyard with those regrets? And once you get there, brother, it's just magical. Like, I'm doing something I'm passionate about, and people go, fuck, that's of high value. Here's what the investment, my investment would be for me to be in that space. People are like, yep, no problems. Yeah, bang, sign, off you go. And to me, that's using your past. As you said, it happened for me, not to me. And I've turned that, as you said, the fuel. You don't think I can do it? Or watch me. And
even this brother, right here, sitting with you now, cuz, you know what I mean? We talked about TikTok and that, and after that happened, getting the ones and that, I went into like a bit of a downwards. But then I always plan on doing this, brother. Like, I'm a conversationalist. I listen to podcasts for like 12 plus years. I love like learning and talking about a lot of things. I travel all over the world, but just tiki touring around and there. So I love just learning about shit, hearing different people's perspectives on things. Big sports fan, so it's it's obviously easy to fall into
absolutely
having conversations with a lot of footy boys and whoever else from the sports arenas that wants to talk. But I just want to, people go like, oh, like what are your goals for your podcast, or what is your podcast about? I say, like, to be honest, I don't have a fucking niche. Like, I want to just talk to everybody and get as much knowledge as I can from everybody, and hopefully share some bits for people that someone can take something from it. And that's it. So like, I'll talk to I'll talk to bloody, let's say like LeBron James, for example, if one day that happens. But I'll talk to Jeffrey Morgan. But even somebody from the street that I meet that's just got a cool story, like, let's come on and chinwag, man. Like, there's inspiration from all nations, and sometimes just need a little bit of investigation, cuzzy, and onwards and upwards, brother. So but in doing this now, I'll be honest, cuz like I was in the what do they call it? Fucking spiraled out of the depression, fucking feeling sorry for myself like a year ago, brother, and not chasing what I'm doing now. And then this year, like a lot of my family see me. I launched this in like first week of January. And the 100th episode will be this Sunday, bruv. Like literally, man.
Congrats, brother, man.
And all edited by me, all fucking done by me, and that's not like I'm the fucking man. But I did do it, cuz like I fucking did it. There's been obviously different boys and sisters and brothers that have come along the journey. But if you wash it all away, I've been sitting here in front of this camera, in front of like this fucking trying to learn how to edit every day since the start of this year, even before that. Like before that, and I plan on doing it for a long time. People are like, oh, you're gonna burn out, bro. I don't feel like I don't get much sleep, but I don't feel tired because I love this. This is my fucking passion, bro. Like, I love talking to people, hearing this.
I love that, bro. And anyway, brother, I was talking about that before. Use what you're passionate about and go down, and the right people at the right time. There was many a times during this journey where even with the TV show, I did what I did for.
NITV,
I was just passionate at that point in time. I was the Steve Irwin of fitness, right? I was just doing it for the sake of. I wasn't doing it for. Oh, I'm going to get a TV show. I was just like, this is how you do it. Here's my thoughts around it. Showing up on camera, trying new things, talking about foods, talking about sleep, talking about anything. And I just wanted people to live a better life, my brother, than I had, and one that was filled with substance. And to do 100 episodes, how much substance have you got from people? Like, you've got all these people giving you their superpowers. What they're doing is compressing 10 years worth of their knowledge, even in this conversation, let alone the
Yeah,
last 99, that you go like this and you plug into yourself and pass on to your kids. How much is that
yeah.
worth? You know, like that
Oh,
journey alone
oh,
is
yeah. Yeah, but that, and also I think I'm also telling myself, bro, like you fucked around like heaps of times. You should have done this ages ago. You know what I mean? And like for myself, I like I go better when I'm told I'm shit. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? That's like some people want to sit in the mirror and just say I love myself, kumbaya. And that works for some people, but I like looking in the mirror and saying, bro, you're shit. Yeah, get up, yeah. You know what I mean? It works for me.
and
You know what
especially,
I mean?
you
And
know, the thing on that topic alone, like a lot of people do that to themselves. Do you know why we do it? Because we know we've got more. We know that we
yeah,
can fucking
yeah,
show up for life
that,
more. And
exactly,
if
Baba.
this is your journey, my brother, and you go out and fucking crush, mate, I'll share your podcasts and anybody that's striving to one thing. You always hear, you'll never hear somebody above you run you down or talk shit about you or do anything. For me to see
Literally,
that you've done 100 episodes tells me you're committed to yourself, perseverance. You're a dedicated father to your kids to be able to show them, hey, just go out and do it. And for men, we don't do this enough, but big ups, brother. Congrats on that 100 episode coming up. And you should be fucking proud because I want to give you a big shout out. We just don't, we're like, oh, fucking don't worry, I'm not going to shout him out because it's all about me. For me, it's about all of us being in a position where, here, brother, here's all the knowledge and information I've acquired, and you come in and say, hey, brother, just be careful in the settings of your family
yeah, yeah,
setting, X,
yeah,
Y, and Z
yeah.
with your kids. Now, we've shared something that could do what? Be priceless in both
Yeah,
journeys. And if you
save
can do
fucking
that
lives and
100
lives,
times over,
brother.
brother, different life coming in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you thrive. Biggest thing, um, there's a space in between this for everybody that gets in, where you sort of the imposter syndrome, self-sabotage,
Yeah,
your past comes into play,
yeah,
and because you're in a space now where you're growing and you're like, fuck, where am I? Who's around? There's no one around me anymore. And I mean that
yeah.
respectful towards our old friends, families, communities. We don't forget. Well, I didn't, that's for sure. And
Nah, nah, hell
but
no.
at the same time, this is what I want from life. This is where I want to travel to. This is what I want to do.
Yeah,
This is who I want to be around. And it's no disrespect to old friends. If you're choosing to do any form of like vendoring, gambling, or
yeah,
cheating on your partner, especially, you know, a lot of blokes I hung around with back in the past, crime, I just don't want no part of it. And I wish you all the best. Honestly, I swear I'll clap you if that's what you choose to do, because that's your life. I'm not here
yeah,
to tell you it's right or wrong. I'll bring awareness and say, does it really serve you? Because they go, oh, Bendering's mad, brother. I'm having a
yeah,
mad time with the boys. And I'm like, bro, you keep hitting me up during the week for money because you can't pay your rent and you
yeah,
said you
yeah.
don't have
That's where
food.
it's
And
going.
now your partners, you're telling me, oh, Morgs, can you say I was with you, brother? Because I was with this chick at some hotel and, you know, the credit card, can you say you borrowed my card, bro? Oh, that's all toxic, brother. It's all
Yeah,
stressful. And you're bringing stress into other people's lives on the back end of your own actions. You got to
yeah.
have a look. You got
That's
to
a
have
you
that inner
problem.
look, inner
Yeah, nah,
understanding.
nah. Beautiful, brother. That's well put. And just on what you were saying about the striving and doing 100 episodes. Yeah, brother. And thank you for that, my brother. Thank you for the praise. But
No,
but like for me, cause on that G, like I said, like I don't even see like the number is cool, but it's for me even the top one in like TikTok was cool, but for me it was more just the connections that I was able to build on there and the friendships that I've the people that I've able to bring onto this podcast and like have and share
from
their
there.
stories, brother. Like that whole journey on TikTok and that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, like that doesn't mean it's my last time on there. I'll still go back and say what up. And then, but going back to what you're saying just then as well about your homies that you ride with and as you grow, maybe they don't go with you, whatever. I heard a cool quote saying that the tops of the trees don't hang out with the grass, even though they started in the same place. So and that's okay,
Absolutely.
you know. But they still
Sure.
share the same sunlight. You know what I mean? And we
I
can all
love.
shine, brother. There's plenty of air for us all to breathe, plenty of food for us all to eat. And you know what? Another thing, I've got a few messages because obviously I only knew in this podcast space, but I've shared a few other people's podcasts, and a few people be like, "Oh, don't do that when you're trying to grow your own." I was like, "Why?" That's like a feminine mindset to be like, "Oh, I can't share my friend's podcast because it was funny episode that I
Yeah,
enjoyed and stuff like that." hell no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
share it like on my if I think it's cool. I think it was funny. Like, why
We
not?
live in a crazy world, right, where people don't support one another. And I'm like, why wouldn't, to me, if someone can't share something that, oh, I've got a space now, I've got a boundary. And if you're not going to be, because you don't want to dirty up your page on Instagram or something, I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
see you later. I'm out. Because I'm at a spot where, man, if I can grow your podcast or someone's business in my space, I'm going to do it all day, every day. And I couldn't care how it looks, brother. I care that somebody maybe gets the information that helps a kid not go through what you went through. Bro, I
Yeah.
don't care what my page looks like. And I've met a lot of influencers, both on all platforms, that talk a big game, as you said. And then when we're talking about men's suicide or something, and
Yeah.
I'll tag them because they've got
Why
a
wouldn't we
huge
share that?
following. Hit
Yeah.
that where, and they won't even share that, brother, because they don't want to dirty their page. And that
Yeah.
was and I was like, bro, see you later. Take care. Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
That authenticity to me is everything. And they're the people I want to be around in my environment because, as I said, you ever been out to a party or you ever been in an environment where someone becomes the party pooper or the person who creates drama? You don't want
Yeah.
that person in your space. I don't want that person in my space. And it's funny how much people will navigate towards somebody who gets them to perceive this is who I am rather than
Mm.
their actual actions. And when you build yourself well, you ain't anybody until you're yourself. It's a saying I came up with. And what
Say
that
that
means
again,
is
brother. Sorry, I missed that. Say that again. Sorry, brother.
you ain't anybody until you're yourself.
Oh.
And what that
Wow.
means is we project, hey, I'm on Woodstraps. Yeah, I'm going to say, oh, look at my shirt, brother. Here's what brand I'm wearing. Look at my
Mm.
hair. And no one cares about that. What I care about is you're the most authentic version. A recent study, 400 times more connection with somebody who's authentic. And for me, you ain't anybody until yourself means that when you look in the mirror, you spoke about it before, tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up, you can talk shit on this, I've got the best car, I've got this, that, and the other. But if you don't have that sitting in the driveway or you're not doing those things that you say, you're going to
Yeah.
sit there and go, fuck, I need $5 to get the bus to, somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you got a Ferrari at the front thing and I'm not knocking you, right? But just connect with yourself more than anything else in this world. Don't worry about what other people think. Worry about what
Mm.
your soul, your mind, your spirit thinks of yourself. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you look in that mirror and say, fucking Jeffrey Morgan, you showed up to your life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
my life isn't your life. You might want to travel the world. I might not want to. I might want to sit and fish off this wharf at the end of my
And
house
that's all good.
every single night.
That's all
But
good
if
if that's
you're
what
not
you want,
doing
brother.
that, that
Yeah.
authenticity gets lost. And I think, even I think on the social media space, people change so much. And I think one thing with TikTok, and I've got to give you a shout out and those that are on there. And I say this to people like, TikTok, when there's great money to be made on there, but you've got to be your authentic self. You've got to build your crew up. That's a big thing in itself. And in
Well,
general, it's
you know,
something that is
just on
priceless.
that, brother, what you're saying about there, what I look at it is, people, because this is what a lot of people would say is like, oh, you're sitting there begging for money, this and this and that, this and that, this and that. Like, go get a real job. First of all, what's a real job? One that pays you, right? Second of all, I'm from New Zealand. All Blacks is the biggest thing. Their religion, All Blacks,
Yes,
the
yes.
biggest thing. They're the most successful sporting team of all time of any sport. But
Maybe.
all it is dudes chasing a ball on the field. You know what I mean? Literally, dudes chasing a ball and chasing each other on the field on a grass pitch. If people don't buy the tickets, people don't pay for the subscriptions to the Foxtels or the Sky Sports, whatever. People
Absolutely.
don't buy the merchandise. People don't, bet on the games, whatever. Then they don't get paid. Cuz same again with
Absolutely.
movies. Movies are just either retold stories acted out fake or made up stories acted out fake. But we sit there with the popcorn, or we sit in front of Netflix, we go to the movies, line up, we fucking love it,
Absolutely.
right? It's all entertainment. Cause so what it is a new form of entertainment. But the thing is, with the difference, I think, this is just my opinion, obviously, is the degree of separation. When it comes to TikTok, the funds go straight from the consumer straight to the creator, whereas in the other worlds is filtered through different methods, but it's the same fucking thing, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're sitting there watching someone on
100%.
a screen do something, and you know what I
And it's
mean?
all
Yeah.
entertainment, right? It's all
That's it, brother.
entertainment in the end, and going back to that authenticity. Whether you're, let's go crew, let's go fam, let's go. Because I've
Whatever.
sat there.
Yeah.
I'm huge on
And that's
human
energy,
behavior.
cuz. That takes energy to do,
100%.
brother. That's work, cuz.
Oh,
Fuck, I know. You try doing that for fucking 12 sometimes. Bro, there was a one called Dream Factory. There's one called Dream Factory, right? It
yeah,
was Dream Factory was, and not, it's still around now, but it's not what it used to be. It used to be every every completed battle you would get points as well. But you don't,
yeah,
that doesn't happen like that. Every hour you go live, and then diamonds, which is the coins you get as well,
yeah.
counted. But I got top one in that ranking as well. But I nearly doubled number two, who was a huge. He's a
Wow,
big on the app. But mine
wow.
was because I opened it up, brother, and took going back to looking at me with the 100 episodes I did, and what I did was I looked at it and I go, so what is this? So what's the regulation? What's the rules? So I need to do this, and that. I say, how many hours are there in a day? And then I hit up my fam, like the TikTok fam, the TFHI. Shout out TFHI, Tranquility Family Health Inspiration.
Wow.
Shout out to the fam. I hit them up and I said, fam, I need as many of yous to run with me. All I need to do is complete battles. It doesn't matter if I win or not. Let's just see if we can get this. Is it for the cash or anything? No, it was just to see if we could do it. And I wanted to
Yeah,
see if we could break get this highest score as we could. So I said this, I can give you 20 hours a day, and all I need is as many of you as possible to just do shifts
thank
with
you.
me. And I did
Wow,
7 days, brother, 20 hours a
wow,
day, and we smashed it, brother. You know what I mean?
wow.
People will be like, "Why you do that for?" Like, "Oh, is it just all you got was like $2,000 US or whatever?" It's not even, that wasn't even for the cash. It was just to be like, let's see if I can do this. You know what I mean? And
I love that,
build it up,
and that's. I say that to everybody. I go, you jump on there, you jump on camera, and you do that as a TikToker. I said, even to bring that energy and create a crew, a fam, or whatever it is,
Yeah,
and be able to. And there's no doubt you've learned so much on that journey, and being able to give to other people that actually
yes,
wanted to feel
100%.
part of a
Yeah.
family, my brother. 20 hours, go like. I challenge anybody over the next 7 days to do 20 hours every day
And no
in
drugs
your
too.
goals,
No fucking
your
drugs.
dreams.
No fucking drugs,
Yeah,
bro. Just straight
your
on your
goals,
energy.
dreams, aspirations behind your passion. So
Yeah.
people will knock you and go, "Oh, TikTok." And I'm like, mate, well, firstly, he's not committing a crime. Everyone says, get a real job. Well, he's got a job that pays him and he's not committing a crime. But if he goes and steals something, now you're going to say, oh, yeah, just another piece of whatever. The
Yeah.
judgment will come through rather than saying, you know what, he's found something he's passionate about. He's fucking committed to himself 20 hours a day. Man, I was doing that back when I was doing crime, walking around, staying up, and saying no
Yeah,
drugs.
of
But
course.
the motivation was money, and
Yeah, whatever
to
the driver is, brother. Whatever the driver is. Like mine was
find
just to
that
see if I could do it, bro. See if I could conquer this thing and smash the
transferable,
record.
right?
Yeah.
And this is for everyone. Why can't you transfer that 20 hours into your business idea, your partnership, or your relationship? And when I say partnership, could be a joint venture with your business partners,
Yeah.
could be a relationship in general. The best one, give yourself 20. The best job you can have is the job of looking after yourself. It's the greatest job you ever do on this planet. What we end up doing most of the time, though, is looking after everybody else as a reflection of what's happened to us. And then we start to sit in victim, and now I feel better by helping somebody else. Help yourself first and work harder on yourself than you do your job. Most people won't do that. And the
Yeah, I
fact that
like
you
that, my
did
brother. I was
20
gonna
hours,
say
my
that.
brother, imagine doing 20 hours of work on yourself around
Yeah, that'll be
self-reflection, elevation, education,
yeah.
inspiration, motivation. So whether it's health, business, life, family, relationships, I guarantee the other side's going to look a lot brighter, a lot happier, a lot calmer, more successful, and fucking more healed than you've ever been. And I can't tell you enough. Go out and do that for yourself. Work harder on yourself
Mm.
than you do your job.
Bro, I needed
Priceless.
to hear that, cuz to be honest, I needed to hear that. Like I said to you, I've been, procrastinating for years, brother. I was bugging useless prick, brother, in my eyes, and I'll be honest, brother. I didn't I had the mentality to be a fucking winner, I always have, but for whatever
Definitely.
reason, I fell into
100% you
just
have.
feeling sorry for myself and shit like that. But not just this year, but probably about 6 months before the start of the year, I decided, bro, no more of that shit. You know what I mean? Like just go get it, man. And yeah, and
Priceless. And
not looking back,
the
bro.
thing
And
is, if
still
we
early, but
carry the thoughts to somebody else, they'll tell you
yeah,
who you are, and you'll believe who you are. If you tell
mm,
yourself who you are and you put that 20 hours into who am I? What do I want out of life? What's the
yeah,
meaning of life to me? And I always say this, and I've been saying this recently. If you died today and you went up to the creator, whoever you believe in, I'm not here to tell
yeah,
anyone who's
whatever.
right, who's wrong.
What do you believe in,
Go
bro?
all in
What's
on
your
your
what do you
passion.
reckon? What do you
And then
believe
you
in?
get there and he says, he or she says, or whoever they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
in
yeah,
your
whoever, yeah,
eyes,
yeah.
you got two choices. Option one, you go back to planet Earth today, but you live the same life that you've just lived and you die at the same time that you've just died. Or
Mm,
option two, you live out those goals, dreams, aspirations that I saw you think about many times throughout your life. Which one do you choose? Every single one of us will say, I'm going option two, because now, whatever it is for you, you found that inner peace, you found that happiness, fulfillment. And it could be a money thing, tangible thing like a house, a
whatever.
boat, a car. It could be
Yeah.
just having good relationships with your family. It could be the inner peace where you weren't stressed out like you were every single day in your last life. You'll choose option two. So make sure you go out, crush fucking life at its highest degree, smash that motherfucker to the ground every single day, and watch what comes out of your life. The life you want, this might not be your life. That's cool. But if you're not living your truest self, when you wake up tomorrow morning and you look in that mirror, you're letting yourself down and you're going to sit unwell with yourself because you know you got more. And big shout out to you, brother. You got more in yourself. If you
Yeah,
can do what you've
we all
done
do,
so
my
far,
brother.
bro, you've got more coming to yourself. The only thing that's going to stop you isn't me, isn't anybody in your environment. It's going to be yourself and what you tell yourself.
100.
What you tell
Like I know
yourself, you become.
putting up that mirror because it's like again, like something Gary Vee says a lot. You know, we need to learn to point thumbs instead of fingers a lot of times. You know what I mean? The old thumb back at yourself sort of thing. Like I like that one, bro. Like exactly. Yeah, I'm with you.
And
And
if
if
you waste that time on somebody else, that's 50-50. I give you 50% of my time. For
mm,
what? For it, like if I'm wasting if I was in the movie, you're talking about movies before, and I'm
yeah,
throwing popcorn in the air and disrupting your movie talking, you've got to give me 50% of your energy to get back to that movie. It's going to disrupt you, piss you off. You're sitting there with your partner going, I just wanted to come and watch the great, I love this type of movie. And all of a sudden, this knobhead's causing me stress. I want to give him an uppercut. Now you're stressed out and you've got to put yourself in that situation. Why do we do that in life when it comes to life? You're like, man, yeah, I don't get things. And for me, you got to understand, people just don't understand this conversation deep enough. Work
mm,
so fucking hard on yourself that you don't
yourself.
have times for other people. Three ways of looking at life. If you're not talking a solution into a problem, then it's not your business. If you're not working on yourself and it's somebody else, it's not your business. And lastly, if you're not offering to find a better way to see or help people see a better way to life, then you're always going to sit in other people's business and you're going to lose traction on the life you truly want. Make sure you show up to those three things relentlessly and watch what happens. I'm telling you, within a year, you'll be a different person. People will tell you, I don't even know you anymore. And I'm like, well, fucking, that's great. Because if I don't know
Yeah,
you, you weren't meant to be in my space. And if you
yeah,
do know me, you know and value the respect and value that you have for my life that I've chosen, and I also respect yours. And if it's over there partying, bendering, letting your family
yeah,
down, letting yourself down, letting your partners down, letting your kids down, which I did all of, well, fuck, I know what's coming for yourself, and I know the pain, the heartache, suffering that's going to be in your space. You can be the toughest mother, but as I said, sort of clunks lock, bang, crying, tears running down your eyes. And I wasn't the only one. People can put on fucking bullshit, bro. I was tough. Internally, if you sit with yourself, you'll fuck yourself up. You say, you know what? I can get more out of life. And the
yeah,
same thing applies, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships. Go out and crush that life. People
yeah.
on the other side are waiting for you.
Yeah, I like that, brother. I like that. I like that a lot, cuz. And just on what you're saying about the obviously, yes, you're right. And I needed to hear that too, brother. You know, some more and more time into ourselves than we do into others. You know, the growth will be exponential, internally and externally. And which you show you're a testament to that, brother. But even when you're saying about, me putting in this 100 episodes, it sounds crazy, like since January, since the start of the year. But for me, I was like, I went live every day for years, brother. So I'm used
Wow.
to talking like
Absolutely.
doing one
It's
like
easy.
even if I did one podcast a day, that would be like fuck all, because of like how much
Nothing.
time I put in. Like I put the training in because like I got the abs in the game. No. Like, got those Jeffrey Morgan abs. That's it, cuzzy. Not a yeah. In the
If
game,
you relate it to, obviously training, man, you'd be shredded hardcore. The amount of effort you put in, and those 20 hours you spoke about over those 7 days, they weren't. And I know TikTok, it's on there. All how many hours were you spending every night, brother?
What do you mean? Oh, before, like over the
Yeah,
time. Oh, but it'd
yeah,
be crazy. Oh, and this is the funny thing too, just on there, because like I was looking after my kids at the same time, when I was doing it. So I jump on at night. It was more jumping on at night. Like that week I went all day, but mostly I jump on at night. But I'd stay on at night till like sometimes like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then my kids get up at 6 o'clock. I gotta get up with them, or 7 o'clock. I can't go and stay asleep. Like, and then people would mock me, and they'd do videos of me having bags under my eyes, like with tea bags, like mocking me, and my own people too, Maoris, of course.
yeah.
Always your own people that hate the most, but just hating because they ain't doing it themselves or whatever. But then like not realizing that, hey, like, yeah, I got tea bags, but just because I choose to do this in the nighttime when my kids are asleep, when I eventually go to sleep, I gotta get up. When they get up, I can't stay because I'm looking after them. I gotta give them breakfast. I gotta, do school drop off, all that stuff, So like, yeah, because I chose to do this is my own choice. But it was fun, brother. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I made heaps of connections, brother. Some, some that are still around, some that ain't. But that's life, brother. And some of them have helped me, start this journey by just coming on and being a voice and sharing their journey.
Even sometimes people would say nothing. It's just about your own actions and what you did. And one of the biggest things too is making sure if you know and you define, I'll call it your roadmap to life.
Yeah.
No one can stop that journey because you're going to get a lot of hate, brother. People are,
Oh,
what are you doing that, bro? Who do you think you are? Why are you wearing that? Oh, that team sucks from that hate you're wearing,
of
bro.
course.
And if you don't have tough skin, and I think that's one thing that TikTok's definitely taught you. Because man, when I go there to watch human behavior, and I'll go there and watch particular people, and I'm like, whoa,
It's a good place, brother, to watch it. It's a good place.
Why do we think that way? So I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and I might someone will write something and they'll respond a particular way, and like they're built from trauma, or they're built from stress,
Yeah.
or they lack direction, or and it taught me so much. I didn't have to turn on my camera. I'd watch people like yourself and go, oh wow, and it wasn't even you that we were watching at times. We're watching it. I was learning from people in the comments, and I was like, wow. Whether it's around racism,
everything.
acting your dreams, judgment on himself. Oh, look what he's wearing tonight. I can't believe. Well, look at his bags under his eye. Oh, bro, you're not.
Oh, like you're wearing the same fucking thing every day. So what? It's like Spaniards here. Bro, look at my shoes. They're from Kmart. You think I give a fuck? Like,
You know why he's at that level? Because he's at it and he just does what he wants to do, and each to their own. And some people might agree with some things, some people might not agree with other things. The reality of the world is everyone's never going to agree to the same thing. If you say chocolate's better than lollies, half the world will split. Right? And you might even get 3/4 one way and quarter one way, but we'll never ever all see eye to eye. Rap music's best. Oh no, I love music. Oh no, I like pop music.
Well, Tupac's the best, and no, Eminem's better, and this and that. Some people will even say it, brother, not even because they believe it. They'll even just say it just to be different. You know what I mean? Like just because they don't want to.
My house is the best, and my right side step was the best ever, brother. Let me tell you the stories.
Oh, you play
we never. In the end, the reality of that whole conversation is we're never going to see eye to eye. And if you try and please the world, comparison is thief of joy. And for me, to be able to look at it and say, I don't need to please or compare myself to anyone. I just need to please myself. And like I lost my hair at some point in time. I could sit there and cry about it or just go, oh, this is me. And spit my tooth when I was at Port Phillip Prison. And I'd love to tell you a mad war story. I was in an all-in brawl. and I cracked this bloke and this, that,
Yeah,
and the other. And he
17
was
fellas,
this
they
big,
knocked them all out. Yeah.
17 of them. But the reality was, like a donkey, I chased a basketball and dove off the court in a jail game just to save the
Oh,
ball going off a concrete court
yeah,
inside the
yeah, yeah.
actual jail there, and chipped my tooth. This on into this one. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's this side, isn't it? Oh, is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
I can't even see this one here, and this one crack. And chipped my tooth. But the reality and the reason I share that for yourself, I just don't care. I just cruise with that. I cruise with this. And what people are going to say, you baldy old bloke, get off there. What are you doing? And all of the above. But if I had listened to them, we've changed 900,000 people's lives over the last 5 years.
Let's go,
Imagine my
baby.
brother. Do you know
Let's
what I'm
go.
saying? But
Fuck our
Chad,
life.
how many people did you honestly maybe, and you might not, you would never collect any data or stats or like government
Mhm.
stuff to prove, but the amount of people you might have saved their lives on TikTok through that
Oh,
family, my brother,
a
like
lot of
you don't
like
even know.
a lot of like a big supporters, brother. Like that's how they became supporters. Like they'd sit there silently, and I'll just play music, and we'll vibe, and the sister and I would vibe on there, and we'll just, and then they write a message like, "You guys saved my life. Like I was gonna kill myself. I'll roll past your live, and because." And you were
Wow,
just vibing and like having a laugh and that, and it made me decide not to. And then next minute, here's a lion, here's a but there's even just ones that all that kind of stuff. It
crazy,
doesn't matter
eh?
about gifts and stuff like that. But I always thought about it like this, and I always said to like the brothers when we got on there, like they always say treat you should always treat somebody how you want to be treated. But on top of
Absolutely.
that, right, I think of the story of Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball
Yeah,
player, Magic Johnson. There was a kid. There's a kid that was a big Kareem fan, and Kareem is known as an introvert. He didn't really like
yeah,
talking to people. He was
yeah.
anyway. This kid, big fan of Kareem, rolls up to him and he says, "Hey, Kareem," and the Kareem said, "Go away, I'm training." And then the kid's like, "Oh, fuck it out." Magic sees this happen, and Magic, man of the people, grabs the kid, takes him under his wing, and he plays with him for like, I don't know, let's say 4 hours. I don't know what the number is, but he plays
Yeah.
with him, makes his day. Uh, 15 years later, he becomes a billionaire and he cuts Magic in big time on his company because of how Magic made him feel.
Wow,
And this kid was a Kareem fan to begin with. So as I say, you never know
wow.
that person will come into your live and tap your screen. They might just be tapping, but like be grateful for their tap, because maybe if your goal is to push up the ranks, maybe they know big gifters, or maybe they are just one that's waiting dormant, or maybe you end up in their city and they're like, "Hey, come and stay in my house, man. Like, I got you." So that's the like sort of paradigm I try to
It's,
give to our people back then, Yeah.
I love
But yeah, you're
that,
right,
brother.
brother.
And
I know he's gonna
it's,
come. I done had it like from Also, I got it from my mother all my life, brother. So I don't care. Like
I
I don't,
love that.
yeah, brother. So I'm all good,
And
brother. I'm all good with it. Yeah,
if
I just
my
ignore it. I carry
grandmother
on.
and mother taught me 4 things, brother. Love,
Yep.
kindness, empathy, and respect. Treat every human with that, and you'll win every
Yeah.
single day of the week. And that's all I do. I just throw that out to the world. And there's been many a times what you spoke about. Someone that was on drugs, on heroin, as an example, but their sister worked in some department who then gave us a 5-year contract for our business to live the life that we want through that person, because we didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to help you so you can give me that 5-year contract." I just love
Mm.
kindness, empathy, and respect to another human being. No race
Yes.
involvement. I didn't care who was in front of me. And as you said, that 3 a.m. phone call, I just did it because if I'm going to say that's me, that's authentically me. I'm going to show up as that
Mm.
version. And what ended up happening, fucking magic, brother, because they say, "Hey, I've got this person." Next person, the NRL, we did the well-being and leadership on them. I was at one of those clubs today. It's an example.
Yep.
Same thing. It came through just the authenticity of the passion for whatever it is that you do. So you had that community, and through that, you were changing, saving lives, brother. People, they are on their last leg sometimes, and
Yeah.
one space where it's vibrant. And that's an important lesson. Everything is about the environment that you're in or put yourself into, and you get to choose that environment. So if it's toxic for yourself and you think just because they give me a cuddle or they tell me they love me, I had a person where we were once on just a live, and they told me they were female domestic violence situation. If the partner didn't hit them, they didn't feel that the partner loved them, and I was like, it blew my mind. I'm like, what do you mean? And they said, well, I'd been hit so much by my partners, I thought it was normal. So if this person and her new partner wasn't hitting her, she felt that he didn't love her. And I was like, it blew me away. So she got into this position by being in proximity to somebody else, when now her perception is, hey, wait a second, that's not how we're treated. And here's a boundary and here's respect. And now I value myself more. And these conversations are happening. And this, this female's being able to step into a better world, and no doubt teach other females who may be going through that same thing. They're not going, didn't happen to them, it's happening for them. And here's the lesson that becomes a blessing. And, priceless, bro. Like, you've changed more than you know, brother, on that space. I know that there's a lot of blokes, and
like,
females on there doing
definitely,
great things.
brother. Yeah, there is, brother. There is, and you know what? On that too, brother. And like, there'll be people going, whatever, but that's just haters. Haters gonna hate. At the end of the day, I got on there. My intention was to just give it a crack, and then have fun, and just because we had gone through COVID and all of that stuff, and a lot of families had sort of separated, and people didn't see eye to eye because of whatever reasons, And then I the sister and I and a few of the, when we came over, because we used to do Instagram lives, and would have big conversations about. So this conversation, like these conversations have been going for years, but they just weren't a podcast. Just hadn't created them. You know what I mean? Hadn't created an RSS feed or put it up yet. But so it's always been there. Like I said, the intention. So on there though, brother, when we were on the Instagram space, a lot of it started getting, a lot of people that started coming in, we sort of started getting a bit toxic. So I try to pivot and go, let's go to this TikTok thing that everyone's on. Let's see if we can just, I don't know, give our little, bring a little bit of light over there. And things grow crazy. Like for a while there was like 100 people with TFHI, which I and a couple of other family members created. Like with it in their name, they all went live and all were in the ranks. Like that was cool. And then people be like, use a recyclers. Like everything I ever gifted someone, I never asked for it back, man. You know what I mean? I just send it to them. You know what I mean? Whatever. And vice versa. You know what I mean? Like you give it as a gift. A gift is a gift, but and then what it is, like, not give it to you now. You have to come to my battle. If you come, if you don't, you don't. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We'll run it up regardless, and let's have fun doing it. And but I just think it's a powerful thing, brother. And whether people believe you change life or not, I definitely know, because I've sat on the calls with them, I've sat on the things and heard them, and then people will be like, oh, is this lady your sugar mama or something? No, this lady's dropping 5 million whatever diamonds because she wants to. Obviously she has it, that's her choice. I never asked for a damn thing. What happens is I just sat there and listened to her speak on the stuff she had been struggling with for ages, and like giving her my perspective, not in a sexual way or anything, just in a like brother, sister, and and then she randomly just goes bang, bang, bang. But like I didn't know that was how it was gonna be. Hey, brother, just did it just because she reached out and I had the time and didn't mind. So
if we can do that in the world where we do something without expectation of something in return, it's a magical world. And it's here's the greatest gift, some knowledge that I spent 20 years learning. I'm going to pass it on to everybody that's listening to this podcast. And you've shared plenty as well, my brother, that many people can take away.
You just inspired me to talk, brother. Otherwise, usually I'll just ask questions.
It's so true, though. But in the end, like, if people can sit there and go, wow, it just takes us, I'm sharing this and you're not paying me, so I'm not. It's like, we've got to get out of that thing, how much am I going to get paid? Sometimes you're doing it find your passion, do that every day. You'll get paid. People will invest in your value more than you ever could believe, because what people they go, I want to make this much money. But I say, why don't you find out what you're passionate about? And as you said, you just jump on every night. Hey, fam, what's happening? And you just roll out, right? And all of a sudden, 5 million diamonds from that person, because you had a genuine conversation for might even be 5 minutes, brother. And people go, mate, I'm going to connect you with. Some people have done that. I had one person whose life I saved many years ago, and they connect me with 50 organizations, just as a guest, right? 50 organizations that signed up to our program. Like, the monetary value of that was insane from that one person. And I did that not because, I'm going to get 50 contracts. I didn't even know that I knew all these people, but it was so well connected. And I just did what I did out of the love, kindness, empathy, and respect, treating another human just that way. And as a rebound, energy frequency, vibration, the world just comes back. And yeah, to me, I can't tell you how much. You find your passion, live that every single day, and get ready for the people that come into your space. Spaniards in that space where people are, as you said the other day, I was seeing doing a video. Two visits into communities, and no doubt, obviously, there was a lot of behaviour there in amongst all of that. And now people are knocking him. He's done so much for so many people to believe and achieve other things in their life.
Yeah,
But they knock him,
people
so you've got to get in that habit of
people
why
from
you wearing
Redfern,
that
people
hat,
from
bro.
communities that they don't want. Hey, brother, you know what I mean?
Why
People,
you wearing
he's
that
giving
hat?
those.
Why are you
Yeah,
looking like that? Why are you living in
yeah,
that house? Why are you like it?
yeah.
You've got to go.
Why you got a podcast, but you don't got anything like sponsors in your background, your shit, like whatever.
And guess
Yeah.
what? If you keep doing it, brother, some people, and I say this because, and we were talking about that before. I wanted to actually touch on it. People come to you, and that TV show came to me out of left field. Some same thing. Hey, you ever thought of putting this on TV? No, not really. Why? And they said, oh, well, guess what? I actually know the producer, and I know some people that connect you. And it was just me being passionate. You keep your passion up. The right person might see that. Drop your numbers on social media. I definitely do that as much as I can. And that's of huge value. If you're getting X amount of downloads, you can go to someone and say, I'm in front of 5,000, 50,000, 5 million people every week. And that, for a smaller brand, 5,000 new people each week where they get to be seen as a sponsor, beautiful. That might lead to the 50,000 sponsor, and then that leads to a 5 million sponsor. And we just don't know until we have a go.
That's it, my brother. Like, that's me. I'm not even fucking stressed about it, brother. Like, whatever, whether I got 1,000 or 2,000, all I know is I'm gonna, like, I think the saying is the beauty is subjective, right? The beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? And I think a lot of people, like when I talk to people, then they're like, "Oh, I always wanted to do podcasts, so many or whatever it is, but like, I need it. Like, I don't look good or this and that. But beauty is subjective. All I'm trying to do is like, what's not subjective is volume, cuz so I'm just putting out as much as I can. I don't know what's gonna hit, but one of it, something will go off. You know what I mean? I'll just keep putting out, keep messaging people. You want to jump on? Yeah, sweet. Book in the calendar. Let's run it, cuz let's run it. If it's fucking 6 podcasts in one day, at the moment I'm in a position where I can just do that. So I'll do it. Whatever. Like, just put it out. Don't know what's gonna hit. And even then, there's going to be value out there for somebody, and the value might not even come to today when I post it or in the next week. Someone might hear it in 10 years' time and go, far out, that was what I needed to hear. Jeffrey Morgan hit me with that. Okay, flip it into a blessing. Let's go.
There's a saying, a saying I've got personally. The pit is bottomless until you fill it with what you don't want. And what that means is, if you're so stressed out about all the bullshit that you don't want in your life, then you're too foggy in your brain of what you truly want. If you are heading towards your own direction, man, you can't stop learning for the rest of your life to be the best of your life, period. So the pit is bottomless until you fill it up with the shit you don't want. You fill it up with the shit you don't want. And the biggest thing tonight has been so many lessons around what you've taken, the actions you've taken, I've taken. And if we're sitting in front of you, sometimes it's not a monetary value. We always define it. If the Ferrari's not sitting out in that garage out the back there, well, that's the water, the garage is out there. But in general, or you don't have $1 million in your account, how much is the fact that you've got life worth? How much is the fact that you've got inner peace worth? How much is the fact that you've got a good relationship with your partner, your kids, life, most importantly yourself? They're all priceless, right? So find your way, create your vision, step into that every single day, and watch what happens on the other side. And big ups to you, brother. Keep going. And mate, if I can help you get a sponsor, I'll even help you get one. I'll chat to you offline about this. And this is the same thing, just to be able to, we just spoke about that organic process. The fact that you've done 100 of these and you're committed to sharing that knowledge to the world, and it could save, change, redesign, realign someone's life.
Just make someone laugh so much when they're having a fucking bad day. Like, You know what I mean? Just like, oh, look at these silly pollies, man, or whoever comes on and we have a laugh with, you know, look at these buggers, man. They made my day, like that kind of shit, because that's priceless too. Like, you know, like laughter adds years to the life, they say, brother. So yeah, like, and I didn't say that like, so Jeff, give me a sponsor. I just said it because that's the comments I've got, like, as like, oh, you don't got a sponsor, what kind of podcast? Shut up. Yeah, I don't care.
Remember that
like, you know, I'm just
conversation I spoke about before too, environments. I'm not joking. You can do this anytime. Grab a piece of paper, draw a circle on it, and that's in the environment. So you go, all right, I want to play sport, and that environment's in that circle. What do I want from that sport? Is it for fitness, my quality of life? Do I want to represent the All Blacks or whatever it is, some NRL team or some team across the world? Or define it so much and live that passion every single day, and don't let that's you in that circle. You are the center of that circle. Outside of that is everyone else, and they're going to have their opinions, thoughts about who you should be and how you should act. But just leave what's in that circle, and that's what I do every single day. So here's my business. What do I want from it? Is it a financial thing? No, it was never a financial. Mine was to change and save lives, and out of it, financially, it became a beautiful thing. And that's why I say to people, you follow your passion, my brother. And same thing, what's the podcast for you? It's about just sharing people's magic and knowledge and
literally
making someone laugh or something of that nature.
Yeah, all of that,
So
brother.
even
Like, don't
that,
get me wrong. We even like we streamed, like I'm a big Warriors fan, up the was big Warriors fan, like to the death, brother, all my life. I love them more than the All Blacks, cuz like, and another brother of mine and a sister of mine, we watch those games every week, like live stream it as well. And my brother, like his partner was sort of like, she's like, oh, why don't you just review the game? Because like people will more watch the game. I said, like, sis, it's not even for people to come in during the live. It's for you can't recapture that moment of like that try that scored and you jump up like, but when you're on the live. That's why we're recording the live. Like, and yeah, we can talk about how we thought of the game later and that, but trying to capture those moments in game when it's happened, or a shit call from the ref, and you're like, you bloody bugger, like whatever the emotion is, we're trying to capture that in that moment, and then we can clip that up. And then when I explained it to her, because she didn't really understand live, she's like, oh, okay, sweet as that's because obviously we needed the okay from the sis for the brother to be able to do it. So
In the end, I think that's you got that environment puts you in that state. So even if you want to be laughing, what is it for yourself? And I say to people, around business, is there times people ask me, Morgs, you're so driven towards what you want out of life. Is there times where I sit and watch? There's a top-notch idiots. Big shout out! You should be paying me for the shout out. But they kill it anyway. They kill it out. They're over in America and they're doing like crazy stuff with gangs. And I'm like, you're off your head. There's times where I'll sit there and I'll watch 5 minutes of that. And you've got to have times where you put yourself in an environment, and even that's human behavior. I look at that and I learn from that as well. But is there things or environments or pages that make me laugh? I'll go there and have a quick laugh and then I'll head off. But I'm not going to get caught up in. So I've dedicated that time. I might put in my diary, and as soon as that time's up, I'm out. And I'm intentional. I might go in there. Most of my feeds around elevating my life, but there's times where I'll go in and I'll know who will make me laugh, and I'll put myself. Know what environment you put yourself into, and know what the outcome will be when you put yourself there. If it's toxic, stressful, painful, remove yourself. You control you. I don't control you. Get out of there. Move out of that circle. I actually stay in that circle, remove them from your circle, and now you've got that inner. And in that circle, what do you want? Inner peace, if you write. Or inner peace when Shabs comes in, he kills my peace. Well, guess what? That's not your person. Get him out of there as quickly as possible, and you'll live a better life, man. And it's no disrespect to them. Brother, I wish you all the best. Real, brother. But, and just move on.
Yeah, because you know what they say, you are what you eat, right, brother? And that's mentally too, and audibly, everything. Like I said, I had this conversation with my cousin, and she was saying to me, "Oh, I don't know, on TikTok it's so toxic." And then I go, "Give me your phone," and then I go, "All right." I look at the phone, we're scrolling through TikTok, and every fucking thing was, you're this, you're that, and then I go, here's mine. Go scroll through mine. I don't follow that shit there. And then she's like, oh, it's all about, if now's the time, if you want to go get it, like this and that,
Well,
believe in yourself, trust the process. You might not be winning now, but keep making plays. The lights might not be shining on you, but keep making plays. You know what I mean? You
I love
just got
that.
to have that blind faith. You don't know when it's going to come, but just keep making moves, keep putting your one foot in front of the other. The journey of 1,000 steps starts with one step is progress, multiple steps is progression, and just keep going. Like all of that, that's my fucking feed, because that's all I want to hear. That's all I want to hear, bro. Because
You
literally,
can't
like, and
just
then I
make
say,
that up.
yeah, when,
That tells me what you feed yourself so much you've become.
yeah.
And
But
the more you do
I wasn't always like that, cuz. You know what I mean? I wasn't always like that. I would sit there and watch all the drama too. You know what I mean? But I
and
fucking switched like last year, and I'm like, nah, no more. You know what I mean? And I can't sit there and watch every TV show or watch every movie. I like people like, oh, have you seen this? Fuck, I don't consume any content. I just make it now. Like, just this is all I'm doing. And if it is, it's fucking good shit. The only one I do is when I open my phone, it's usually like Jeffrey Morgan, or it used to be Russ. RIP to the brother Russ. Russell. It's all fucking shit that's moving, people that are like achieving, people that are like, and for me, that's all I want to listen to. And that's me. Like people are like, oh, and then my cousin's like, far out. I was like, yeah, well, your algorithm is what you fucking feed, cuz. So if you feed
your
it like
algorithm,
all that stuff, that's it.
it's funny, your algorithm will determine your inner dialogue. And your voice, even speaking it because you heard it, has changed. And a year ago, if I asked you, tell me something, tell me some quotes, you might not even know the quotes. You're like, oh, I don't know, bro. And you rip out something maybe you learned back in school that was just not even something powerful.
Nah.
It's what you surround yourself with, you become, and your thoughts, behaviors, beliefs of that nature. I just want to say thank you for bringing me on space, brother, and being able to share to the world, because we put ourselves, every time we put ourselves out there, we hope someone picks up something that enhances this, in my version, enhances their life, whether it's, financially, emotionally, spiritually, culturally, psychologically, in any way, shape, or form. So I appreciate you having me on here to be able to share that journey and allow others
Nah,
to
thank
get the
you,
most
brother.
out of that.
And thank you for giving me a shot, cuz, I find a lot of people like me. I'll still talk to, like, if anybody wants to come on, I'll say all my friends, anybody, they're like, oh, can I get on? Yeah, come on, like, here's the calendar, booking. And then next minute, oh, I don't know, like, oh, well, then when you're ready, okay. Until then, they'll be like, oh, I gotta have that inner conversation. I say, what's the inner conversation? You either want to do it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
100%.
either jump on and let's run it, or I'll talk to you in a year's time, whatever. I'm gonna keep doing this. This is what I'm
My
gonna do
biggest thing too,
until I
brother, if
fucking
someone
fall over.
treats you like that,
Yeah.
ditch them. Like, and I mean that
Yeah, no, but listen to me.
respectfully.
No,
And I
no,
don't
I
mean
can
that.
put you above. Yeah, I
Like,
get you.
because in the end, we're all human beings, and I don't care how high I end up flying. Even if I ended up in Hollywood and ended up a
Yeah.
movie star, I'd still
Yeah,
come
well,
on
just
your
don't go to
podcast,
Denny's
brother.
house, eh?
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That's the next podcast.
Next one, Barbara. Next one. No, yeah,
I'll stay away from it, but
yeah. But I
mate,
believe that, brother. I believe you would. I believe you would.
yeah,
But thank you
and
for
I
giving
just
me an opportunity to share your space, to share your knowledge, to share your understanding, to listen, to grow together. I hope, like, in this moment, I've grown a lot just in this conversation, and I'm sure, I don't know if you have, but I definitely have, just taking from,
much brother.
learning from you and sharing my stuff, brother. So yeah, appreciate you, brother. Hey, brother, before you get out of here, can I just ask a couple of questions? Is that all right?
Go hard, rip it up.
All right, my brother. If you could have any superpower, what do you choose and why?
Oh. I had this answer before in my head. It would be to pass on the lessons of the value of life, because people don't understand. We teach it, I swear, like, people are so unconscious and they go, nah, life's good. But if I could show you something and be able to just click my fingers and you go, whoa, I didn't realize life was that
Oh, I see.
magical.
Like an epiphany. You could, like, create epiphanies for
Because
people.
we get comfortable with being unconscious, and average becomes our life, and living the same day for 75 years and calling that life, paying your bills. There's more to life than that. So if I could just go snap, and you go, fuck, that's what my, your dreams I could unpack and put in front of you, and you go, this is what would happen if you take that action, like you are with your podcast. And I go, whoa, bang, put it back in now. Oh, I can't unsee it now. So what happens with that lesson that becomes a blessing? life's not seen this way now. Now I'm seeing it this way, and now I'm going to act upon that. If I could do that, that'd be my superpower to the world, because everyone would live the greatest version of themselves.
Beautiful, brother. If you could have one, we call it kai. I don't know what you brothers call it in your lingo, but we call it kai, which is food. If you could have one meal or for kai, what do you choose and why for the rest of your life?
Oh man, chocolate cake or something, bro.
Chocolate cake, yeah. Chocolate cake, yeah.
Like people, as much as I love being healthy, I don't know. Yeah, like oh man, okay, yeah, I'd be down on sweets. I grew up on sweets. You know,
Yeah.
there's one thing they could afford, Danishes, stuff like that. Like I just, it sounds bad, eh? But honestly,
No,
if
that's
I'm
honest.
talking
You're
about
being
a
your
health
authentic
conscious
self,
way,
brother.
it'd be
It's your
something else.
authentic
But
self.
realistically, man, I'd smash chocolate cake or tiramisu or something all day, every
Yeah.
day, or nice cheesecake with Nutella on top. I don't know, something like that, bro. It'd be
Woo!
all day,
Oh
every
man.
day. But
Let's go.
chocolate cake, man, it's
Yeah.
a good chocolate cake.
But you're being your authentic self, brother, and that's what's good. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, my brother.
If I was being a nutritionist or something, eat the banana or that.
Fucking
You
banana.
know, but
Yeah.
if it's a fruit, it'd be a nectarine, I reckon. I
Oh,
love nectarines.
nectarine.
So I love
Oh, yeah, the nectarine.
that. They go down good.
I don't mind the
Mango,
watermelon
actually,
either.
mango,
Oh, actually,
mango.
oh yeah. What about juice,
Mm.
brother? Are you a juice man? Like if you had a like fresh juice of a fruit
Nah,
or
this is about my juice, to be honest. The aloe vera, that's about it. The rest
oh
is
yeah.
all, it's all water or sparkling water. Those two. I'll have
Oh,
this every now and again, and that's more when we're up in Townsville, so it's warm, and I just sort of
yeah.
try and put something else into the body.
So
I'm not a
so
soft
when you go
drink
to
person. I don't do the
yeah.
soft drinks. I don't do that sort of stuff. So that's
Yeah.
my only one.
So when you go to Italy and they say gasata or naturale, you go which one do you choose? Either one, sparkling or you like sparkling? But I can't do sparkling, Like with the
Nah,
sparkling, I don't know. When I feel the fizz, I feel like there's got to be a flavor to it, and then it's like just water.
nah,
I just rather just drink water as is.
nah, I'm
I like
happy.
I love the water though. Up the
I
water,
don't
boy.
know the impact it has on my health, and I've seen a lot of health issues within our community. Too many
Oh,
people bury too early, so that's why, like, it's just I look at that. I don't know, and I mean this to each their own. You do you, and I'm not here to promote anything. But if I'm looking
yeah,
at that bottom, like that's poison to me. That is literally going to kill me in some way, shape, or form. If I'm not controlling that and I'm not exercising and all of the above, if you can put that into a good balance. Most people can't do that because they don't have the discipline, accountability, responsibility to their own mouth, integrity,
yeah.
and that's why they damage themselves and end up in hospital on medication. And that's not a good form of life or quality of life. When you're on
No, no
medication,
way.
pushed around, struggling to get into life, and lacking motivation, all of the above. That's why I'll cut
Yeah.
that out. In that sense, my brother.
If you look at like the a lot of the causations or the correlations between the rise in cancers, like and then the advent of sugar in the Western diet, like it's not a coincidence that it shot up and
Yeah,
all these cancers appeared after
preservative,
all of that. So
all of the
you're
above.
right,
So try and
preservatives,
eat
all
as
that stuff.
clean and
Yeah,
mean as possible.
yeah,
Eat as, and I say clean and mean because you end up mean and clean from your own actions. How you feel, function, and look is determined by what you put in your mouth, but also what you put into your thoughts. I'm no good. I'm shit. I don't deserve anything. You'll feel like shit. Bad food, bad mood. So clean that up and clean and mean, man. Use that
clean and
mentality,
mean.
create a better reality. You're
Yeah,
worth
that's
it.
if there's anybody out there that's starting in business, brother, what one tip would you give them? Just one tip off the Jeffrey
One
Morgan tip.
one day at a
Business.
time, man. One step at a time, and be clear and defined on it. So write out what you want. Write out your
Yeah,
best version of what that looks like, and then just take one thing at a time. Don't try and I'm going to put 20 things into my to-do list. What's the next step? What's the next one? And what's the next? And be proactive and productive, meaning you take action straight away, no matter how painful that may be. But to do that, I definitely get a mentor guide first because they can compress all that, what you will do in that research and time, 10 years, 5 years, 3 months. They can, if it was 3 months, they compress it into 3 minutes. And you know, wow, what you taught me in 3 minutes would have taken me ages. How much is that worth to yourself? One
mm,
step at a time, use the one analogy and you'll go far.
Yeah. All right. Last one, my brother. Young Jeffrey Morgan. You can go back to the kid in Redfern, 12 years old. What do you say to him?
Be proud of who you are, man, because you did your best with the knowledge you had as a 12-year-old kid, and you should be proud of how fucking tough and strong you were back then. And I'm proud of you, brother. And I've gone back to a lot of locations in the last couple of years, bro. To be honest with you, that I've had a lot of wrongdoings, mistakes, whatever failures, whatever you want to call them. I've flipped them into lessons now, and I don't even use those words. I've gone back to detention centres, jails, holiday locations, areas where I made bad decisions around partners, and I collected that little boy who has now become a warrior in this space for himself,
Oh,
because
so
that
that's a
spirit
big
was.
thing you reckon for people to go and do that. Go back to doing
For
that.
me,
Like,
I feel like
yeah.
I went back and I got that spirit and said, man, you
Wow.
became stronger. Let's go. And you're safe now. You're safe, little boy. You're right. And that boy was acting out of wanting to be loved, cared for, nurtured. And now, with the knowledge that I've acquired, I can go back and collect that little boy from all those spaces. And there's a lot of those spaces, I bring the damage to that space as well. And I'm proud of who I became, and I'm proud of that little 12-year-old boy, brother.
Bro, thank you for that. I think I'm might need to go back to a few spaces myself and go talk
100,
to the
bro.
little boy,
And stick with
even the
that.
even the 25-year-old man and I guess boy and the 18-year-old boy, and go talk to them. I
I
think,
did the
brother,
same.
myself as well.
Did the same previous relationships just a couple of years ago. Go back, sit in those spaces. And when I say sit there, obviously don't disturb someone who doesn't want you to be in a space, but be around. You might have
Yeah,
went somewhere
the
together
area.
and say, I could be. It might have been even a movie or so, I don't know, like a space, and just say, a shopping centre, and say, you know what? I recognise that I wasn't built well then, and I now have loved myself, and I've educated myself to a point where I can love myself more. I'm proud of who I became.
Oh, beautiful, my brother. Hey, time's the most valuable commodity we have as human beings, my cousin. So thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope this isn't the last time we sit down on the podcast. I know we'll see each other in the flesh soon. But I really, really, really am grateful for this opportunity, for your time, your perspective, your energy, your light, my brother. Keep doing this thing. Keep shining the light for your people and for people in general. Much love, my brother. Straight up.
So, peace out, bro.
Thank you so much for watching this full episode of Mind the Mic. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to create these episodes. So to know that you've watched and listened to the entire thing means the world to myself and all our hosts. If you could, before you leave, please hit the subscribe button and share this episode out to as many people as possible. It would help us so much. Thank you again to everybody that's still here, still watching. Thank you for all your comments, all your shares, all the DMs. Appreciate you all. Make sure you follow us on every platform. Have an awesome morning. Have an awesome night, depending on where you are in the world. Mind the mic out.
Oi, have you hit the link in bio yet?
Watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all streaming platforms.